Hello, my name is Steve Rezac. I'm the president of NewView Business Solutions. NewView Business Solutions is a full-service training company that we offer everything from assessments, classroom training, and mobile learning. We specialize in sales and leadership development, and what really separates us from a lot of our competitors is that we take a systems approach, or we call it learning that never stops. And it starts with assessing people, doing pre-work, classroom training, and then extensive follow-up, whether that's in e-learning or mobile learning, but it's a system more or less than just a classroom training event. In any good training initiative, you have to start with a baseline, and assessments really give us that. We offer many different types of assessments that measure competencies at the individual level, and then it rolls up to an organizational level. And so whether it's a 180 or a 360-degree assessment, we can measure where do we start, and then ultimately that gives us a plan or a roadmap to help individuals and organizations say, this is how we want to design a curriculum for individuals or design a curriculum for an organization. Many of our clients start with an assessment so that they make sure that they can best use their training dollar. Typically what will happen is individuals will get an assessment and then they can chart an individual plan addressing their biggest needs. For the organization, they can then see as a company, here are certain areas that we need to focus on, or where we can have the greatest ROI or the greatest impact in their training dollar. And so by doing that assessment first, companies can do the most important training first, and then maybe other curriculums, other training programs later. But it really gives them the maximum return on their training dollar by starting with that assessment first. Once an assessment is done, whether that's in sales or leadership, usually that assessment shows here are the greatest needs that we first need to tackle. So many times we put curriculums together that cover 2 or 3 years, where in sales we'll focus on key fundamentals that the assessment said we should start with. That might be foundational selling, selling to certain styles. More advanced courses could look like business acumen and more strategic sales courses. And the same is true with leadership. But our systems approach looks something like this, is that every course has pre-work, classroom, and then 12 weeks of follow-up. And that follow-up could be things like emails, conference calls, reinforcements on smartphones, and that reinforcement is what's really giving our clients the competitive advantage, because we learn in the classroom, but we apply afterwards. And that whole systems approach gives us that competitive edge in the industry that we're in. One of the biggest things that we do in follow-up is that there's email follow-ups. Then we provide the manager's coaching tips. So when the emails go out, the participants get one version and the coaches get another version. Then what we do is we have conference calls about 40 days after the class, and we actually share success stories and challenges of what they've been able to implement, and then also, in some cases, what challenges do they still have. After that, we provide the clients with what we call 1-hour mini modules. And those 1-hour mini modules are nothing more than PowerPoints that the sales manager or the sales coach within that client, they can use at district meetings, regional meetings, sales meetings to help focus on one key thing: pre-call planning, handling objections, closing. And so in that reinforcement process, the content almost transfers from our company back to the ownership of our clients. And that's where learning takes place. That's where the clients really get key value, is that their people can coach it, their people can implement the skills, and that's the ROI then starts to come back in market share gains, increased sales, bigger, better contracts. We have just implemented a new follow-up process that fits right in with all of our reinforcement process. It's called the 5-Minute Sales Coach. And how the 5-Minute Sales Coach works is it provides one nugget of learning or one topic. We reinforce that content in less than 5 minutes. And in that period, we ask every participant to take action. Might be identifying key prospects, might be understanding key objections. It might be how to identify the certain customers to call on. So it's one topic, and then we ask them to take action. So if it's time management, it might be, spend more time with your A or B customers this week. If it's negotiation, it might be to identify what is the position and interest of the other client. And then we ask them to share results with the sales coach, whether that's using social media, or email, or telephone call, so that they can interact with a sales coach to help ensure that learning takes place. Many of our clients have an opportunity to either have us as the sales coach and provide wisdom, or in many cases what we do is we help the sales coaches, which could be the district manager, the regional manager, or maybe the sales training manager within that company, to be the sales coach. In either case, the sales rep needs to have somebody that they can share what they're doing and how they're doing it and get some feedback. That's one of the biggest challenges, is taking an individual salesperson and making them a sales manager. What we typically do is we start off with an assessment to make sure what leadership skills and sales management skills do they have, and then we create an individualized curriculum. That curriculum usually focuses on things that they need to do immediately as a manager: how to hire, how to build a team, how to coach, how to implement performance management. Then over time, they'll do more advanced things like better business decisions, setting business strategy, understanding business acumen, and becoming really a global sales leader. And so all of that is started with the assessment process, and then going through that same pre-work classroom and follow-up to make sure those skills get developed in each leader. One of our most innovative processes is that we use the 5-Minute Sales Coach as a method to get knowledge transfer in any topic, whether that's sales coaching or whether that's sales training. For example, what we do with one client is that we reinforce the skills in one area, but for the sales coach, we provide that same content but provide additional information on how to coach before, during, and after that conversation. And so using technology, we use the smartphone, iPad, iPhone, Android, BlackBerry to get those messages through. And that seems to be a big area where clients are focusing today.